So team, welcome to the continuation for our software testing tutorials. Today is in fact the first session on JIRA as a test management tool and how we're going to use this very effectively as part of our overall preparation of becoming a great software test engineer. So this tutorial will focus on a few introductory aspects of how I want to get JIRA into your skill set and skill level. So what we'll start with is why is JIRA needed? What is the current challenge with our manual testing model? What JIRA really is, what does it do? And how do we go about installing a trial version, and how do we go about working with the different components that JIRA comes with. All right. So let's take a look at what are the issues that we face in today's world of overall test management when we talk about defects and so. So the primary issue, if you look at, is that we have, number one, people who are distributed across different locations, right? So we have a distributed team, number one. We have distributed roles. And what happens is, as part of the project life cycle, there is a lot of communication that happens within these different members. So there are members of the team who are working on the development aspects. Then there are members of the team who are working on the testing aspects and probably the management as well, right? So with so many different items happening, the importance is that how do we communicate effectively with each other? What is happening when, how do we organize ourselves better and so on? For example, very simple thing, okay? Let's say that we start with one requirement, all right? That requirement is converted into a technical document, all right? And that technical document will get into a code, okay? And once that coding is done, then we go about testing it, all right? Finally, after we test the whole thing, we realize if there's a defect, then there is a defect created. The defect has to be sent back to the developer saying that, hey, you know what, there is an issue. The developer has to look into it, identify what is going wrong, fix it, and then move forward and so on, right? So there is a lot of iteration that will happen. There is a significant amount of repetition of tasks that happen and so on. So basically, there is an overall workflow for the entire process. So while we start with the business requirement, we go about doing the technical design documents, we do the coding, we do the testing, and we do the deployment finally into the production. All right. In this process, there is a lot of loops that go on. So there is a specific process, there is a specific workflow that gets created. Okay. So each time someone is creating a defect, and either the defect will get closed, someone has to first open it, say that, okay, I've opened a defect. Then developer says we have to assign it to a developer, and the developer says that, okay, I started to work on it. The developer will accept the defect or will reject, saying that yes, it is a defect, or no, it is not a defect. And then the defect has to get into the next stage of closing or eliminations and so on. And finally, we create a huge log of issues or defects. So for every project, you create a huge defect or issue log, and creating this defect, identifying and effectively navigating through that issue log is very important, okay, to track and say what defects got created, what defects were closed, what defects didn't get created, and so on. That way I can take a product from, let's say, version 1.0, okay, to version 1.5, or to version 1.1, or even a big release saying that version 2.2. Okay, so how do we move within these versions, and how these defects become such a critical aspect is a very important reason of why these test management tools have come into place, right? So what primarily tools like JIRA do is that they address these challenges, and the challenges that they address is we need to create defects, because defects are the whole aspect of test management. If I want to take a project from A to B, through that process there could be a lot of defects that get created. Ensuring that we find, fix and eliminate those defects is one of our priorities. Okay, so defects will get created, they need to get classified in terms of how severe they are and so on. They need to get assigned who's going to be working on this defect and so on. They need to get tracked in terms of who is working on it now, what is the position of it, is it ready to get closed, how much effort is being put on it. We need to monitor and see as to how many defects got created, how is the overall process happening, analyze the overall dashboard view of defects, and then finally be able to close them effectively, right? This is just an aspect of defects. Okay, then there are things very similarly for projects. Okay, every project has its own life cycle, like moving from 1.0 as one version to, let's say, 1.1. The next version of it is a project by itself. Oops, 1.1. All right. So this move from 1.0 to 1.1 is a project by itself. As part of this, defects are one aspect of it. Okay, there are people associated in this whole thing. There is a process or a workflow associated. There are issues or defects that get created. Okay, we need to be able to see at a high level what is happening, how many defects were created and so on. And we need to be able to track and say that, okay, we are in a good shape now to move forward. Why is this important? Number one, it is easy to communicate with everyone and be able to manage things effectively. If we do not do this and we use Excel on an ongoing basis, Excel is still a great solution. It's a quick fix, easy solution, no question about it. But just the effectiveness or the ease at which we can do all of these tasks becomes limited. Okay, I have to use emails, Outlook, take screenshots, use a defect of Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, all of them together to be able to manage that process. So tools like JIRA will actually help us fix those things. So what is JIRA? JIRA is in fact a tool that is coming from Atlassian. Atlassian is a company that has manufactured or created this product called JIRA. Okay, this product JIRA is basically, actually I should put it in caps, that is how it is represented, is helping in these few aspects. Okay, very important for you to know. It helps you manage projects effectively. It helps you track and manage issues or defects, to be able to create a workflow. What is a workflow? In the sense that, okay, my project, here is the workflow. I have a business requirement. Okay, we will create a technical design out of it. Okay, we will also create test cases while this is getting created. Then a coding is being done using Eclipse. Okay, let's say Java based or PHP based, whatever. We are using the coding through Eclipse, and then defects will get created and defects will get fixed and so on. So designing this workflow, designing users and roles and those things, that becomes very easy using JIRA. We can easily search with and find with ease as to what is happening. What do I mean by search and find with ease? For example, if today I have done a progress in October, okay, let's say we just completed a good project in October where we moved from 1.0 to 1.1. Okay, now before end of December we want to do one more project, okay, new project, and we have to move 1.01 to 1.2. What do I mean by all of these? What it means is that we are taking one version to the other and we are adding new features or functionalities, right? So to be able to move, I can have the ability to go back, hey, you know what, what really happened in the earlier project, how many defects got created, are there any important learnings that the entire team can look into, can I track and see how what kind of issues were causing major challenges or took long time to fix and so on. That kind of a learning and analysis becomes very important. So that is where you could search and find whatever you want with ease. You could also find and say what are the defects that have been allocated to my name that I need to retest and see and so on. I'm giving you at a theoretical and a high level the overview of the tool, but the real essence will come to you team when we start experimenting and playing around with the tool. Okay, do note this. To become a good expert at this tool, it is not just watching tutorials, it is practicing with it. Okay, it's got a lot of features. It's got many different modules and features into it, and it takes significant time to explore and master this tool. All right. However, it is very easy to understand. There is no coding involved in it. There is no complexity. It is all about understanding what is where and implementing it. Very simple. For example, let's say that ages ago you never knew how to work with Microsoft Excel, right? But slowly you started using it and it was easy for you and so on. This is also a tool which has similar thing. It has different features. No coding is needed at our end, but we need to be able to understand how to work with it, how does it work and so on. Why? Tomorrow if you go into a project and where they're using JIRA, you have that skill and you will be preferred in that specific job environment because you already have exposure to the tool. All right. Now, how do we get started with JIRA? Let's look at the next slide. What's there in the next slide? So we discussed on why JIRA is needed, what JIRA does at a high level. Now, let's talk about how do we get started with JIRA. So primarily, what you should do is you should start with going to Google and search for JIRA. Okay. You would see many literatures, many sets of information that come up. The primary source for you is the Atlassian.com, the website from the providers of JIRA as a tool. All right. Once you go to this section, you can try JIRA for free. There are two versions. There is an on-demand version and there is a download version. On demand is a web version. So you can log in from anywhere and you're able to easily work with it. And so you don't have to be specifically be in front of one machine. It is hosted on the web. Download is an option for you to put it into your local machine somewhere and start using it. All right. So two different versions are being provided. All right. This is not a free tool. It is a licensed tool. It has a specific pricing. However, there is a free trial period of 30 days that you could use. There are lots of overview videos also. I will provide some important links, but once you go to the website Atlassian.com, you will see a lot of resources for it. Now, what you could do is create an on-demand tool and try it out for 30 days at your end. But yes, do note you will need to provide your credit card, because what they will do is they will not do any charges on your credit card to begin with. But after 30 days, if you do not cancel within that period, they will continue to charge you. All right. So if you need to practice, this is the option that is available. You could download it and use it, but ensure if you're not wanting to move forward, then you have an option to unsubscribe at that time. Okay. Now, you should start with the on-demand version. Very easy to install, implement, and learn. Okay. This is the web-based where you'll get a URL and you can start with it. So once you click on Start My Free Trial, you have the ability to fill up a form and go about doing everything. Atlassian provides many other tools that you could use. You are currently interested in JIRA. Select that and then you go about creating a site address. Site address will be the home or the URL at which you and your entire team will work. So if I am a product owner or a project manager or a program manager, all right, I might create something for my company out here. So when people have hosted solutions, when they download it, then they implement JIRA on different servers locally. Or let's say that I want to put it here, so I could create something like itelearn.atlassian.net, and that will become the address where everyone can start using it. I've already created one using this, so it is not letting me create again, but just to show you. Select your time zone, select your admin details, give your contact details, give your payment details, little bit about your company, agree to the terms and conditions, and you can submit. Once you do this, what will happen is it will take little time and create that account for you. Once the account is created, that is when you go in and you will be able to start playing around with the tool. Okay, Atlassian.net. Now, you will have a URL that has been specifically designated for you. Okay, as soon as you go there, you have few options, but if you see right now, there is nothing visible. I definitely recommend to look at the JIRA users guide, because it will give you a very structured idea on everything that is available. Okay, there should be definitely the documentation available. You should be able to look into it. Otherwise, I can find and come back to you on it. Now, what you would see is the feature of logging in at this point. Okay, one of the things that is important is that you will have different user roles. Okay, for example, there is an admin user, and then there is a developer, there is a test engineer, there is a team lead, so on. So various roles can be performed, various users can be created using it. Now, you would have signed up based on using details like admin or so on. I think I've used Karthik and I've used some dummy password. So once I'm able to log into it, I should be able to see different details about what I have done. Okay, what is most important for you to understand is that as you add new things, you will be able to view different options on the top, on the dashboard, and so on. Okay, here is a starting screen. The great thing about JIRA is it gives you the ability to customize your view and say what you want to see as you log in and so on. Okay, now this is the starting point. Ideally, I would like everyone to get to this stage before I continue forward. But what we need to do from here is have the ability to go back and work on these. Okay, create projects. Okay, either create some test cases that we want. Okay, create some defects or issues with it. Identify how our workflow will be. Create a few users. Play around with the search functionality and how a defect will flow through that entire life cycle, and then we will also work on some dashboard views and so on. That is the idea of it. All right, so let's create a very temporary project to begin with. Okay, you could create projects, users, set up and configure the different permissions for us. Okay, let's start with either viewing all the projects that are there, or we can create a new. Since this is our beginning stage, we don't have any projects that are created. Okay, so I could click on add project and start to work with it. Now, as you will notice, there are different permissions that need to get created. Okay, unless you have the specific permissions to be able to create a project, you will not be able to do it. Okay, so let's say that I create a project name and say ITE Learn Members Project. Okay, one. Now, what happens is there is a name and then there is a key. Key is basically something that can be used to easily identify a project. Okay, and this will be something that gets assigned before every issue. For example, if I say this is ITM1, okay, I can't use ITM1 here, but I can use it in issues. Once I put this, every issue that gets generated under this project will have this as a prefix. Okay, so it will start with that at the beginning. All right, and you could click on add to it. Once you do this, you should be able to add a new project, and from there on you will start seeing the various things that can be done on a project. Okay, this is the name of the project. There is a key that we have given, and there is no URL assigned to this project yet. Okay, you could go about creating and doing a lot of things for it slowly. You could say that, hey, this is my URL for it, and say that IT learn or let's say ITM test. Okay, put some images if you want, change it to whatever you seek. Okay, or upload a new one and put description to it. This is the first test project, right? What JIRA provides is not just a tool with a lot of features, but a tool with a lot of ease of use. Okay, as you go about creating different sections in it, you will see how easy it is to use this. Okay, there will be so many smaller areas which even I would have not explored, but that is fine. As you go along, you will start to learn them. Okay, now URL is not valid. It must start with, okay. I could link, sorry, okay. I have to link it to a specific URL. So let's say that I'm working on IT-learn http:// where is my project going to be? itelearn.com/members. All right. That's the URL where we will use and where the project is going to get hosted. So that will be assigned to all the people or the users who are using it. All right. So I would like to take more time to go through each and every feature of it slowly. I want you to get a good start, quick start, and start creating and go parallel with us. Okay. Now, if you notice, as we've started to see this, you will see that different things have got created. The view is changing. You will start seeing now projects out here, issues out here, and so on. Okay, you could go to a specific project, you could start working with it, and so on. When we come back tomorrow, we will expand it further, and I'll show you how you could go about doing more and more with this tool. Very easy tool, very neat to work with, and extremely interesting. All right, you just need to start participating. Also, there are a lot of keyboard shortcuts that I'll show you as we go about. Very easy to work with, very nicely designed. So that is what I wanted to show for today. When we come back tomorrow, we will do much more on this subject. We will look at how the different advantages of JIRA are met, why this tool has become popular, and so on in a more practical manner. So playing around with the tool in a more advanced manner is what we will try and target in the next session. And just to let you know, while there are specific end dates and so on for the live webinars, the sessions will continue to record it and conduct it to cover all the important aspects of manual testing, including these two important tools. Any questions that I could handle for now? Are we done with the test cases and test plan? No. So what we are doing now is whatever we have done so far using the documentation and so on, we've kept it there. We will now use JIRA to take it forward into the next level, actually conduct the testing and so on. SOAP UI is an absolutely different tool. Each tool has a different usage. This tool is for a defect management at a high level, project management, and so on. SOAP UI gets very specifically into testing service-based applications. Quality Center is not part of the current course structure of this training. You can go back to the website and look at what is being covered as part of it, please. Can we learn it too by downloading it? See, any tool can be learned by self-downloading and practicing. Absolutely, yes. You just need a start. The only thing that happens through this kind of structured videos and lectures is that you have one source where you can sit down and go through in a structured manner end to end. Various other sources may have their own challenges with it. But anything, please explore it, download tools and start using it. Is it right to answer say that JIRA is only used by small company, 100 to 400 employees? No, not necessarily. JIRA is not used by small companies. It is used by huge number of corporations, small to large. But typically what happens is every team, at the end of it, there are set of projects, there are set of teams and so on. So you could create different instances of this tool to work on the applications if you want to break it down in a large company. Okay, but otherwise there's no limitation to the number of employees in a company who use this. Urmila, please contact the phone number or call the customer support if you have an issue with the go-to training. You'll need to have them look into it. They will be able to fix it up for you. Yes, so once we go forward with creating a few more scenarios and so on, your tools questions will get answered. Tool used for both defect tracking and writing test cases. Yes, I will also show you how do we go about working with test cases using this tool. Yes, developers also use this tool. There are integrations points that they could use directly with different platforms like Eclipse and so on, where they click on the issue and it opens up the source code of the application where the issue probably belongs to, and they can start fixing it from there. What we are doing, Deepika, are all QA classes. All right. So the QA classes are being now done through JIRA. So we can use JIRA as a good tool. We were using Excel earlier. Now we're using JIRA and we're continuing on that. Forum, please look at what I've shown there, Shafiq. There are integration issues with the external forum. You're not able to post there. I've created a Google Doc, but I don't see anyone putting questions in there. So I don't know if you're actively trying to use it. So till then, yes, apologize for the delay, but I will come up. In the meanwhile, please use the Google Doc. Easily put your questions there and every one of us can see it and we should be able to answer. As we go through the different features of JIRA, you will explore all the things that it can do. Okay, I want you to take it step by step, but at the same time, understand the intricacies of each and everything. For example, if we are working on projects by itself, we should spend about 15-20 minutes at least. Issues, we should spend at least half an hour to 1 hour, and how the life cycle goes through entire things. And then dashboards, we have to spend a lot of time. We have to spend some time in how do we search and effectively generate reports and so on. So we'll structure them together as we go on. What is the meaning of dashboard? Dashboard is at a high level giving you an overview of what is happening with your system. Okay. For example, your cars have a dashboard, and what do? They tell you how much fuel is there, how is your gas pressure, tire pressures. It'll tell you how much speed you're going, what is the RPM, are your indicators fine, are your lights on or not, how many miles have you run. So all those details of the car, it is showing you in one small portion so that it is easy for any user to understand what is happening. Okay. So if I'm a driver, I have all the information that I need. If I am a CEO of a company, I would like to see at the high level a dashboard which tells me this project is healthy or not healthy. There were thousands of defects created, but thousands got fixed or nothing could get fixed. Where are we at a high level? A project manager wants to go at a deeper level and see as to who is having bandwidth so that we can allocate more defects to them, or who is not using, or who has got a huge backlog of things, who is backdated and so on. So that kind of a visibility helps. Depending on your role, you are getting a good snapshot overview of your current status of your project. Any company uses JIRA. There's not what kind of a companies. Any companies use JIRA. I've seen it being used in various sort of companies. Eclipse is a integrated development environment that helps developers easily manage different programming languages. Primarily Java, but you also use it for a lot of other things. So it is a platform where people can go and start coding and managing it easy. The good thing about Eclipse is it helps you can see that Eclipse recognizes certain keywords. It gives you line numbers. It gives you the ability to see the way a developer would love to see things, what it is being integrated with, so on. Okay. In fact, there are a lot of free tutorials on my YouTube channel, so you could look at them also, please, to get a detailed overview of Eclipse. All right, everyone, thank you. But I wanted to do a short session because it's an introduction to a new tool. Now we will go a little bit more detailed. So please try and do parallel work as you watch these videos or you attend the sessions. QC is not currently part of the course for specific reasons. I do not have access to the licensed version of it at the moment, and that is the reason. Once I get access to it, I will release it as a training for sure. All right, thank you everyone. Bye for now. We'll see you back tomorrow. Thanks everyone. Bye.